Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Paramvijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, total world victory of Hare Krishna. My name is Sitapati Das.
And my name is Dana Devi.
And this is Vaishnava Voices. It's not an emergency broadcast like Namras and Venkat Bhatta did the other day. It's just a conversation. Yeah, Ṛtvik. Inspired by that. Yeah, you know
at the moment that is a hot topic, right?
It is. My comments are like blowing up on
Everyone
the socials.
is freaking out.
Yeah, there's a lot of
confusion.
Yeah, and there's a lot of existing conversation around it. Yeah,
I can also see resistance, positions,
preconceptions, very emotionally loaded. Yeah, it's a very charged environment. I think the first thing for me in understanding it is reclaiming the word itself. Like people say, some people have been saying to me recently, "Are you a Ṛtvik?" And I say, "No, I am not an officiating acharya initiating on behalf of His Divine Grace Śrīla A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. No, I'm not a Ṛtvik." You see, the term Ṛtvik has come to refer to something other than the meaning that we receive it in the Disciplic succession. I was going to ask ChatGPT about this, if there's a Vedic concept like rectification of names. That comes from Confucius's Analects of Confucius.
Right.
So in there, someone is asking, like, if you became the king, what would you do? He's asking a sage or something. He said, the first thing I would do is the rectification of names. Let this thing that is called a son be a son. Let the father be a father. Everybody operates according to their roles. And then everything functions. Because if they don't, if you call one thing something and it does something else, then everything falls to pieces. The arts, the sciences, the society, everything. It's basically kind of like dharma, right? It's like something should be aligned with its guna and its karma. Like, what is the actual thing and the name that you use to describe it?
Right.
So, Ṛtvik, people say, "Are you a Ṛtvik?" But the meaning that we receive that word in disciplic succession from Śrīla Prabhupāda is a specific technical meaning. To use it to mean something other than that means you've gone outside of the śabda-pramāṇa, the transcendental sound vibration, into some other weird shadow world where you're saying these words, but they don't actually indicate anything solid.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like Gajendra the elephant fighting against the crocodile, and the crocodile wants to pull the elephant in the water. Gajendra wants to stay on the land. So if you go outside of the śabda-pramāṇa of the acharya, now you're talking about like who knows what. So, just to ground this in śabda-pramāṇa, let's go to the
I think the important part is understanding like actually what it means, Ṛtvik, or being a Ṛtvik.
Yeah, exactly. What does the term mean?
Yeah, exactly. So once we do that, it will give a clear guidance. What I can see also in the people's comments, it's
oh, you've been reading the comments? Some of them?
Not everyone's, because it's too much to read. There is in the background I can hear some fear of having it wrong, not being wrong with that, or not don't take the wrong path though for what they already been indoctrinated. So there is some sort of like a resistance there. No, that this doesn't mean, or whatever that exists in their world.
Like you can't actually examine anything, like thinking, your functioning part of your brain, your critical intelligence is turned off, and now you're just kind of emotionally like.
And the monkey brain.
Yeah, like yeah. I definitely experiencing that.
Yeah, the monkey brain. So
people talking like that.
So what the thing is like we need to see with clarity. Obviously, with personal, I don't want to commit any offenses. Neither I want to diminish
Keep talking, I'm
Śrīla
gonna close this door.
diminish Śrīla Prabhupāda and who he is in this world for many people, for many generations, and the books he translated for our benefit. What else can I say this?
You're saying that you don't want to diminish Śrīla Prabhupāda.
No, in no way. And neither I want to diminish any other acharyas, because being acharya is very special. It's not for everybody in this world, because if everybody else would be an acharya, guess what? Everybody else would be an acharya. It's nothing new about it, right? But in this situation, because it requires such a high degree of purity, compassion, integrity, it has to be a specific person can take that position. It's a heavy position to have. At the same time, it's a wonderful decision to have, a position to have, like Śrīla Prabhupāda. Heavy for him at such a, old age, in a physical state, an emotional state, and psychological state was very heavy for him. But he was transcendental to that despite all of that, he's been doing this and committed to what his spiritual master ordered him to do, instructed him to do. And I can see, we can see these days, not many people or the selected gurus have followed through step by step the instructions of Śrīla Prabhupāda.
Okay, Jai Śrīla Prabhupāda. So I don't want to get off the topic of the like this term Ṛtvik and understanding it in disciplic succession.
Yes.
Not like different ideas that, like people asking me, are you a Ṛtvik? And so let's have a look at how we receive this term from His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pucharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Okay, this is from May the 28th, yesterday. So this
in New Zealand timeline.
Yeah, it's 29th here today. This all just came up. So this is a conversation between Srila Prabhupada and the GBC. May 28th, 1977, 48 years ago. To find this in Vedabase, I look for the term regular guru. Regular guru will find you this conversation. So if we go down here, okay, Satswarup says, then our next question concerns initiations in the future, particularly at that time when you're no longer with us. We want to know how first and second initiation would be conducted. So he asked the question. The question is about initiations in the future, particularly at that time when you're no longer with us. We want to know how first and second initiations would be conducted in the future, particularly when you're not with us. So it's a direct question to Srila Prabhupada about what will happen in the future when you're not here.
Right.
And then Srila Prabhupada says, yes, I shall recommend some of you. After this is settled up, I shall recommend some of you to act as officiating acharyas. And then Tamal Krishna says, is that called Ṛtvik Acharya? And Prabhupada says, Ṛtvik, yes. That's it.
Yeah. Is that Ṛtvik Acharya? So it appears by this question, it appears this person had already knowledge about Ṛtvik.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like neophyte or beginner's question.
The other thing is he did not get that from reading Srila Prabhupada's books.
Right.
Because you do not find Ṛtvik Acharya in Srila Prabhupada's books. This, to me, indicates that there have been previous conversations.
Of course, yeah.
Where Srila Prabhupada has discussed this, and the recordings of those conversations, for whatever reason, are not available. They have not survived.
I'm not surprised about that.
Well, anyway, I mean, here's the point, though. The term Ṛtvik here, from His Divine Grace, refers to officiating acharyas who conduct initiations, first and second initiations.
Mm-hmm.
Officiating, so a Ṛtvik or a Ṛtvik acharya is an officiating acharya who conducts first and second initiations on behalf of His Divine Grace Śrīla A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. That's it. That's the whole thing.
If you go a little bit down in the conversation, there is another
they go
clear thing.
Sure, but I just want to really anchor this point home here first before we go into this.
Yeah, right.
People are like, I can see them already. They're like, this doesn't prove that, Prabhupada wanted to end the disciplic succession. They go off into a whole thing. I'm like, I'm making a single point here, a single point. When we use the word Ṛtvik in disciplic succession from Śrīla Prabhupāda, from His Divine Grace that comes to us, the word Ṛtvik means an officiating acharya who conducts the first and second initiations on behalf of His Divine Grace Śrīla A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. So when you talk about the Ṛtviks, or when you talk about, are you a Ṛtvik, you're asking the question, like if you say to me, are you a Ṛtvik, you're asking me the question, are you an officiating acharya who conducts the first and second initiations on behalf of His Divine Grace Śrīla A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda? That's the question you're asking me. If you say the Ṛtviks, you are talking about the officiating acharyas who preside over the first and second initiations on behalf of His Divine Grace Śrīla A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. If you are speaking in line with the disciplic succession and grounded in śabda-pramāṇa, if you use that word to refer to anything else, it's no longer śabda-pramāṇa at that point. It's a shadow world where you're talking about something with a word that sounds the same thing, but it has no grounding in absolute reality. And then there was one more thing about that, the Ṛtvikism. Yeah, I start talking about something and people will say, Ṛtvikism this and Ṛtvikism that. This is no ism about anything. It's simply pramāṇa, śabda-pramāṇa, anuman, reasoning. So shabda is sound vibration from transcendental sound, from the acharya, from the shastra. Anuman, reasoning from shabda. And then pratyaksha, your direct personal experience, or the experience of others, which can come as testimony.
It's basically a medium, or,
What's that?
Being a Ṛtvik acharya is just being a medium.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
It is a officiating acharya who presides over the first and second initiations on behalf of His Divine Grace. So
it's like a representative,
I'll make one more statement about this here.
Sure.
That in this here, we see that Ṛtvik, the idea of officiating acharyas, is from Śrīla Prabhupāda. It's not like some guy invented it, it's made up. No, it is from His Divine Grace. When people start like blaspheming Ṛtvik, they're blaspheming something that Śrīla Prabhupāda created in his speaking in this moment. The other thing about this is, at this point here, Śrīla Prabhupāda says that the Ṛtvik, he's answering the question, what happens about initiations in the future? So when people say that, he only meant it to be for a couple of months, he's specifically answering the question, particularly at that time when you're no longer with us. So he's creating this idea of this Ṛtvik, not this idea, but he's creating Ṛtvik acharya, officiating acharya, to do first and second initiations in the future, particularly when he is not when he's not physically, his body's not physically present. Yeah, so that's that there. If we limit it to just that, this is from śabda-pramāṇa, from the acharya. We have here in śabda-pramāṇa the term Ṛtvik and a precise definition of what it is, and it's created by His Divine Grace Śrīla A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. And don't you dare let me hear you blaspheming that in front of me, because I won't tolerate that. That's why I answer everything. I just say, what is this Ṛtvikism you're talking about? They say anything Ṛtvik. I say a Ṛtvik is an officiating acharya who presides over first and second initiations on behalf of His Divine Grace Śrīla A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. This is how we receive this term in disciplic succession. Any other use of this term apart from that is unauthorized. That's me.
Yeah. It's like the tendency of people of making a converting
An
or
ism,
creating a world that
a shadow world.
yeah, that is not existent on the book. So Śrīla Prabhupāda mentioned, for me it's quite clear. Yeah, he gives the order. You go and initiate people on my behalf, and the job of them is to make sure all these initiating acharyas or the officiating acharyas to make sure the person who wants to get initiated meets the requirements that are doing, following the principles that they meant to.
Mhm.
And so that is the job of them. And the new disciples basically are disciples of Śrīla Prabhupāda.
Well, yeah. Let's have a look at this. So that becomes now a whole other thing, which this
For me, it's quite clear to understand that.
Okay, but this thing here, that's the next question that's asked. Satsvarup says, then what is the relationship of that person who gives the initiation? So the Ṛtvik Acharya, and the Prabhupada says he's guru. He's guru. Satsvarup, but he does it on your behalf. Prabhupada, yes. That is formality, because in my presence, one should not become guru. So on my behalf, on my order, Amara Agyaya Guru Hanya, be actually guru, but by my order.
Yeah, on my order. Yeah.
So, some people will say here Prabhupada is saying that these Ṛtviks are also authorized as gurus on his order. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no problem. Satsvarup, so they may also be considered your disciples. Prabhupada, yes, they are disciples. Why consider? Who? Tamal Krishna. No, he's asking that these Ṛtvik acharyas, they're officiating, they're giving diksha, they're the people they give diksha to. Whose disciple are they? It's pretty odd. No, I don't want to give my commentary right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or shall I? Here's the thing about this is people split this into two things: before Prabhupada physically disappears and when Prabhupada is physically present.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, the Ṛtvik Acharya thing was only meant to be while Prabhupada is physically present, because it can only exist while he's physically present. I don't find any evidence. The argument, the way they argue that is they say to not do that would violate the tradition, so Prabhupada can't make that move. They say that.
Mm-hmm.
But here, let's take the case that this Ṛtvik Acharya thing Prabhupada's creating, even though he's specifically answering what happens about initiations in the future, let's say that he's just creating something that will only last while he's physically present. Prabhupada's saying that they're the disciple of the Ṛtvik Acharya. But that means that they're going to be doing these initiations on his behalf while he's present, and then these initiates will become their disciples. But then Prabhupada also says, because Satsvarup leads the question, so they may also be considered your disciples. Prabhupada, yes, they are disciples. Prabhupada, my commentary again, he seems unconcerned about owning disciples,
He's so detached.
Yeah. Prabhupada, they're his disciple. Tamal Krishna, they're his disciple. Prabhupada, who is initiating? He is grand disciple. Right? So here, and then Satsvarup says, yes, Tamal Krishna, that's clear. Seems pretty clear, right? Prabhupada's saying, I empower you to become a Ṛtvik Acharya.
Mm-hmm.
The Ṛtvik Acharya is initiating. You have my order. You initiate on my behalf. He says two things here. They may also be considered your disciples. Prabhupada, yes, they're disciples. So they're Prabhupada's disciples.
Mm-hmm.
But then Prabhupada says, yeah, they're his disciple.
Mm-hmm.
Who is initiating? He's grand disciple. So there's kind of two things there. But Prabhupada says he's a grand disciple. Prabhupada's grand disciple. Satsvarup, yes. Tamal Krishna, that's clear. Satsvarup moves on. Then we have a question concerned. Prabhupada interrupts. When I order, you become guru. He becomes regular guru. That's all. He becomes disciple of my disciple. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So here you can see, this is why I find it with regular guru. There's two things described here, the Ṛtvik Acharya and the regular guru.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're asking about whose disciples are whose, Prabhupada, says, so who's initiating? He's his grand disciple. And then they move on. But Prabhupada goes back to that point again to say this. When I order you become guru, he becomes regular guru. That's all. He becomes disciple of my disciple. That's it. So, there's many different ways that you can understand this conversation, because there's like different people in this conversation are angling for different things.
Everything can be, seen from a different angle, and it's okay. As long as it doesn't violate the principles.
This is funny because, look, someone is in here. He says, Ṛtvik is bogus. And he says, you are twisting Prabhupada's words. All Ṛtviks do. You must have missed the beginning of this, my friend, because we just spent 10 or 15 minutes clarifying that the word Ṛtvik, let's go back and do it again for your benefit. It's basically
called officiating acharya.
Yeah, here is what Ṛtvik means. A Ṛtvik, this is from his divine grace. This is the śabda-pramāṇa. This is the authoritative reality or truth, the tattva of Ṛtvik. Ṛtvik Acharya, officiating acharyas who conduct the first and second initiation. This is from Śrīla Prabhupāda. So when you say Ṛtviks do this, you're saying that officiating acharyas, recommended by his divine grace, who conduct first and second initiations on his behalf, are all bogus. That's what you're actually saying.
It's basically contradicting what Śrīla Prabhupāda said.
I mean, this is what people don't realize is they say Ṛtvik is bogus. Śrīla Prabhupāda you're saying Śrīla Prabhupāda is bogus. What Śrīla Prabhupāda said is bogus. Or you're talking about something completely different using a word that sounds like it's the same thing. But yeah, okay, whatever. We're not talking about that. We're talking about what Prabhupada says.
Yeah, I guess we have to be very clear about what exactly Śrīla Prabhupāda said and stick to that.
We just stick to what Prabhupada says.
For next 10,000 years.
No, Ṛtviks are officiating acharyas who conduct first and second initiations on behalf of Śrīla Prabhupāda. That is what Ṛtviks are. I don't know what this word is that you're using or who you're referring to, but
I think his understanding is completely different for him.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you wanted to say something more about this? That's pretty much the entirety of this. Purajit Das says that this next part here about the parampara and the BBT is also, is also a structurally connected and semantically important. For me, this part here up to this part, when I order you become guru, he becomes regular guru. That's all. He becomes disciple of my disciple. That's it. That there for me is I have from that part there, understanding what this term Ṛtvik means and the different questions and the answers that Prabhupada gave to it. I have enough from this śabda-pramāṇa here to create some statements about various things, including Śrīla Prabhupāda's Guru-pūjā.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll move on to that after you say what you want to say about it, or what's your thoughts, insights?
What comes out of this for me is that Śrīla Prabhupada is the boss. Let's put it in a more simple way. He's the boss. And everyone working under his umbrella, obviously, is under his command. And everything they do belongs to him. Because of him, people are trained in doing what they're doing. And I don't think it gives the freedom for people to take over and say, it is me who is doing that. It is me who has the power, or it is me who has the influence, or whatever. It's like, no, yes, you are doing bad. You are the byproduct of him, of Śrīla Prabhupāda. So you cannot go above him and say that,
Mhm.
you're the boss.
Okay.
So I think we need to have a little bit of humility here. Recognize that you are where you are and who you are because of someone's contribution, someone's blessings, and education, would say, training. As otherwise, you will be just any materialist in the world.
Mhm.
That's my understanding.
Okay. Okay, so the first statement that I want to make about this
Mm-hmm.
is, look, people say that whatever this Ṛtvik system is that Śrīla Prabhupāda creates here, it only exists up until the time that he leaves, and then they make two statements about that. One is they say that's what he intended, or they bring these things and say, here's where he ended it. I don't find any, this is a very clear statement of his intention to create it and what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't find an equally clear statement that says, now it's ended and I have something completely different. I don't find that. I'm open to someone showing it to me, but I haven't seen it. The next thing is, sorry, go ahead.
I think there is somewhere, I don't have like the access to that right now, but there is somewhere where Śrīla Prabhupada said no more gurus because...
No, you're thinking of no more sannyasis.
No more sannyasis,
that's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
So then the other thing they say is this cannot continue beyond Prabhupada's samadhi when he leaves, his body and they put it into samadhi in Vrindavan, because that's not possible. The thing about this here in the śabda-pramāṇa, if I take just the śabda-pramāṇa here,
Mm-hmm.
Śrīla Prabhupāda speaks this into existence as something particularly in the future when I'm not here. He, in his speaking, creates it as possible in the future beyond his presence of his physical body. Now, I don't make any more statements about that, except for the fact that Prabhupada does not rule it out. And in his speaking, he implicitly rules it in. He's answering the question about particularly at that time when you're no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
He says that I will, you will do on my behalf and you will be empowered by me. I delegate to you, but you be by my order, like that. They may be considered your disciples. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, then they, whose disciple are they? They're his disciple, his grand disciple. When I order you become guru, he becomes regular guru. That's all. He becomes disciple of my disciple. That's it. So he seems to have created a couple of things here. Ṛtvik, very clearly, he created Ṛtvik here as the officiating acharya who does the first and second initiations on his behalf.
Mm-hmm.
He also creates regular guru here, which is distinct from Ṛtvik because he created Ṛtvik before. Now he creates regular guru.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, when I order you become guru, he becomes regular guru. That's all. He becomes disciple of my disciple. So from this, what I take from this is Śrīla Prabhupāda creates Ṛtvik acharyas into the future. He says that when I order, so they're empowered, authorized by him.
Mm-hmm.
And when I order, then you become regular guru and he becomes disciple of my disciple.
Mm-hmm.
But while they're a Ṛtvik acharya and they're initiating, they are initiating on Śrīla Prabhupāda's behalf, and those are Śrīla Prabhupāda's disciples. Right? So that's what I take from that.
Mm-hmm.
I also take from it that Śrīla Prabhupāda is saying that this is possible and this is particularly what's going to happen when I'm not here. Those are the kind of things I take from it. I don't take this as a hard position like, you must believe this or anything like that. I just like reading it as it is for the direct meaning from it. That's what I take out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that, it's not possible, people argue that it absolutely can't be because it's not possible, for this reason, that reason, this other shabda. I'm just like, that's not what Prabhupada is saying. Prabhupada is saying it's possible.
Yeah, the thing is here, if I want to look at in this more common example that we can relate to, like for example, we have the minister, right, that who governs the country, and you have different ministers. The ministers, of course, they're powerful. They work for the government.
Yeah,
but who makes the call is the government. So they are under him. Now, the ministers cannot come and say, I am the government. Yeah, you are part of the government, you work for the government, but you are not the government as the top,
Mhm.
the boss here.
Mhm.
So yes, you do have your powers, empowered by the government with some duties to fulfill,
Mhm.
and you have your job to do, and you have the training for that,
Mhm.
and you have to follow the regulations to be that minister, and that's it. Just be satisfied. But you cannot go and say, no, I am the minister and I do all the call here and I'm better than the minister. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, you can excel in certain abilities, whatever, but no, you will not be above the acharya.
Mhm.
That's how I understand it.
Mm.
Like, how come people can have this confusion? Like all of these gurus, all of these, they are they put Śrīla Prabhupāda in the background. It's just like they write it in for hire, and he's not here present, so we make the call, we make any changes. Like, no, Śrīla Prabhupāda was very explicit when he said, I may not be present physically, of course, but I will live in my books. So you want to have a close relationship with me? Read my books.
Mhm.
So what part of that can you not understand?
Mhm.
Like the government gives you the stamp, right?
Mhm.
And the ministers can use that one and empower themselves. We have this the stamp of the government,
Mhm.
of the president or whoever, and the prime minister. That we have the stamp of the prime minister, and it's so powerful. And then they just using that to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean,
Yeah.
to get
Okay.
whatever they want to get.
So I'm going to make an argument now that this person in the comments is like the Ṛtvik group. I'm going to make an argument now from the Pramāṇa, śabda-pramāṇa that we've looked at, and using Anuman and tattva. I'm going to make the argument that ISKCON are the Ṛtviks.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, the officiating acharyas who initiate on behalf of Śrīla Prabhupāda in the matter of first and second initiations, particularly when he's not here, are the ISKCON gurus.
Mm-hmm.
They are Prabhupada's Ṛtviks. And Prabhupada's Ṛtvik system not only was created then for him and never rescinded, but it is operating right now, and that is what we are looking at. I'm going to make that argument.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Yeah. I want to touch something.
Yeah, you do it.
Narada Muni says there is no difference if you repeat Prabhupada as is with no changes. Okay, so yeah, correct. Prabhupada. So it's no excuse. They need to be bona fide. Yes, of course. Even as being Ṛtvik acharyas or officiating acharyas like Śrīla Prabhupada used that.
Mm-hmm.
That's his wording. They have to be bona fide. Imagine like let's say a dancer just comes up and say like, you know what, I'm going to be officiating a chariot. Like, you have to have the qualification for that.
Well, you have to follow. You have to, yeah.
Every single, if you want to have that high position, like let's say let's touch the minister of development or the health department. The Minister of Health Department is not just like a street guy that is sitting in the corners asking for money in the corner. You know what I mean? No, you have to have a specific training, and you have to have like the reference of people that you are, who you are, to get to that position. Yes, they have to be bona fide, and that I agree with you. And officiating at charges doesn't give like the freedom or the accessibility for people to just like use the title without the qualification. Actually, yeah, it is just quite simple. For me, it's a common sense. Yes, I cannot be like a surgeon, like grab a knife and start cutting people there because he has a knife. He has to have the knowledge of the bioscience and everything in order for him to perform the surgery. So it's the same thing for the bona fide officiating acharyas.
So yeah, so the ISKCON gurus are the Ṛtvik acharyas. This idea that, oh, there's ISKCON and there's the Ṛtviks. ISKCON are the Ṛtviks. They are. Here's why. Okay. Śrīla Prabhupāda's Guru-pūjā, the puja to Śrīla Prabhupāda as Guru, daily worship of Śrīla Prabhupāda as Guru. Shri Guru Charana Padma, the song we sing. Śrīla Prabhupāda's murti, the offering of the flowers, the incense, the lamp, the chamara whisk, singing the songs Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. This is the worship of Śrīla Prabhupāda as a Guru, as Guru Tattva, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if the disciples in ISKCON are grand disciples and great-grand disciples of Śrīla Prabhupāda, what are they doing worshipping their Param Guru or their Param Guru in Guru-pūjā every day? That would be apasiddhanta. It would be a violation of etiquette. They're not worshipping supposedly their guru, but instead they're worshipping Śrīla Prabhupāda as their guru. So what is the explanation for that? Now, this is very clear. It's just very clear. It's like the clear proof that I've been initiated by a Ṛtvik acharya of Śrīla Prabhupāda is that after my initiation, I'm directed to offer my Guru-pūjā to Śrīla Prabhupāda. It's obvious, it's self-evident that Śrīla Prabhupāda is my guru.
Yeah, because we are.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, like you mentioned, while we're doing the whole, what is it called?
Arti.
Yeah. With all the pranams and referring to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Is the question like, imagine this one. This is like understanding. Imagine I'm married to you. Okay. Oh, no. Let's put another example. Imagine that our son, Prahlad. He's your son, right? Biologically and everything. No one can deny that. Imagine him saying, no, he's my stepdad. It's kind of contradictory, right? Since the same people are saying, Śrīla Prabhupāda is the father.
Well, no, I got an example for you like that on that. Yeah, it's like Father's Day, I guess, something like that, or every day. This is like literally every day. Every day you give you make a cake every day, and on it says, "Dear Dad, I love you." Right? And then, you're giving that, like Prahlad's giving it to me every day. He gives me a cake. It says, "Dear Dad, I love you." Right? And then someone says, "Oh, you must really love your dad. It's obvious." And he's like, "Oh, no, he's not my dad. He's my granddad. Or he's my great-granddad.
Or my stepfather."
Yeah, or my stepfather. But it would just be kind of weird that you're like, anyway, it's the tattva of the Guru-pūjā. If the claim that we're not Ṛtvik acharyas and we are regular gurus, then they would be guilty of violating Vaishnava etiquette by not having the disciples worship the guru. You can't have the disciples worship the Param Guru. It's a violation of the tradition. It's apasiddhanta. Because this is really funny, because once you get this, you can see that all of the charges that are made, and they create these people out there called the Ṛtviks, and they say the Ṛtviks, they want to do this and they want to do that. It's funny because if you deny that ISKCON is operating on the Ṛtvik system, ISKCON becomes guilty of all of them. They're like, oh, you want to jump over the guru and go directly to Prabhupada. Literally, what do you say that you're doing every day in the Guru-pūjā? You're going into the temple and then you're worshipping someone that you say is not your guru as your guru. They're like, this is like Ekalavya who worshipped Dronacharya. You know that story? Ekalavya, he worshipped Dronacharya, a murti that he made, and Dronacharya never accepted him as his disciple, and It's like, if what you say is true, if you are not Ṛtvik Acharya of Śrīla Prabhupāda, then your disciples worshipping Śrīla Prabhupāda as Guru in Guru-pūjā every day is them worshipping the murti of someone who is not their Guru as the Guru. It would be apasiddhanta.
Yeah.
Further, having Guru-pūjā institutionalized in the temple to Śrīla Prabhupāda, when you ask these different devotees in ISKCON, like, what are you doing? If you are not worshipping your Guru, Śrīla Prabhupāda, in Guru-pūjā, what are you doing every day in the temple? And they'll tell you all kinds of things. I'm worshipping the founder Acharya tattva. I'm worshipping, a great personality. I'm worshipping a Shiksha Guru. They have all these different kind of ideas, none of which are authorized. Śrīla Prabhupāda never authorized the worship of himself as founder Acharya.
Mm-hmm.
He never created this mode of worship and authorized it.
Mm-hmm.
The mode of worship of Guru-pūjā to one's Guru is authorized in the tradition.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Guru-Shishya relationship.
Mm-hmm.
The worship of one's Param Guru
Mm-hmm.
or one's Param Guru is not part of the tradition. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
if you introduce a practice which you say is worship of the Param Guru or worship of the Param Guru, Prabhupada did not authorize or introduce that. He never said, worship me as the founder Acharya, or as the Guru for all disciples into the future, like as a permanent final Guru-pūjā to just me.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, who are you worshipping in the Guru-pūjā if it's not your Guru, Śrīla Prabhupāda? If it's not our Guru, Śrīla Prabhupāda in Guru-pūjā, who am I worshipping? He never authorized Param Guru Puja. He never authorized Param Guru Puja. He never authorized founder Acharya Puja. He never authorized Guru Principal Puja. He never authorized worship the Shiksha Guru Puja of someone that you think is great. No, he created, established, and authorized worship of Śrīla Prabhupāda as Guru Tattva by his disciples. That's what Śrīla Prabhupāda's Guru-pūjā is. As soon as you start to deny that Ṛtvik Acharya, that the initiating gurus in ISKCON are Ṛtvik Acharyas, as soon as you deny that, Śrīla Prabhupāda's Guru-pūjā becomes philosophically incoherent. It becomes apasiddhantic. Does that make sense? Apasiddhantic. It becomes asuric because it becomes an unauthorized mode of worship. Like not shastrically based. It's no longer disciple worshipping Guru Tattva anymore. It's now some weird thing that Prabhupada never authorized or introduced. And when
it's sorry to cut.
Yeah.
It's like what's the name of this guy in America?
Tell me something about him.
Like like trying to become taking the position of Śrīla Prabhupāda. I am the Guru. Now you have to worship me.
How is that the same thing?
Like, you have Śrīla Prabhupāda as the authorized person to worship.
No, hang on a second. Śrīla Prabhupāda is authorized to worship in Guru-pūjā by his disciples as the Guru. Nothing else is authorized. Not by the tradition, not explicitly by Prabhupada. He does not authorize grand disciples to worship him in Guru-pūjā. That if you're going to say, oh, he authorizes his grand disciples to worship him as the Guru, where does he say that? That's not in the tradition. Nor is that anything explicitly that he said.
Can you clarify the grand disciples?
Yeah, so if Śrīla Prabhupāda has a disciple who is a regular...
Give a name.
No.
Create a name.
I don't know. Ṛtvik Maharaj. Not Ṛtvik Maharaj, but like Acharya Maharaj. Acharya Das Maharaj.
Śrīla Prabhupāda initiated Pablo de Acharya. Okay,
and so Prabhupada comes to him in a dream and says, now I want you to become guru and initiate. And Acharya Das, wakes up and he's like, I can't believe this. And he, the next day, Prabhupada comes to him again and says, you have to do this. And Acharya Das is like, I don't want to do this. If I become like a regular guru, everybody's going to like kick on my face. They're not going to believe me. I can't tell anyone I had a dream from Prabhupada. They'll think I'm crazy. And then Prabhupada comes again in a dream and says, you have to do this. And so then Acharya Das is like, okay, my guru has ordered me to become guru. I will become a guru. He becomes a guru, regular guru. He's initiating disciples now. I don't know, maybe he goes somewhere. He's not initiating in the presence of his spiritual master. So he's not initiating where daily Guru-pūjā of his spiritual master is taking place. He's not initiating in a place where Prabhupada's, classes and books are taking the sound vibration of a spiritual master. Like Śrīla Prabhupāda, when he initiated his disciples in America, there was no daily Guru-pūjā of his guru taking place. They're not reciting his books. Śrīla Prabhupāda is there and he is the regular guru. So Acharya Das, he goes somewhere and he initiates some disciples, and they do Guru-pūjā to him because he is their guru. They are grand disciples of Śrīla Prabhupāda. Śrīla Prabhupāda is their param guru. The relationship between those disciples and Śrīla Prabhupāda is like the relationship between Śrīla Prabhupāda's disciples and Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So, he's honored on his avirbhav and tirobhav, his appearance and disappearance, but by no means does anyone who is a disciple of Śrīla Prabhupāda do daily Guru-pūjā to the guru of their guru.
I mean, to Saraswati.
Yeah, to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. No,
yeah.
So what I'm saying is that if you claim that these are not Ṛtvik initiated disciples of Śrīla Prabhupāda, what are they doing? Doing Guru-pūjā to Śrīla Prabhupāda every day. Philosophically, what is that? And how is it justified? What is the tattva that they are worshipping? What is the mode of worship that they are performing? And where does this come from? And when you ask devotees about this, who say that ISKCON is not the Ṛtvik, the ISKCON is not the Ṛtviks, they give justifications that have no grounding in Shabda at all.
Right.
They say, oh, it's because Prabhupada's this and Prabhupada's that. And you say, okay, but did Prabhupada say that? Did Prabhupada say, worship me as the founder Acharya? Oh, no. But other Vaishnava Sampradayas, they worship a great personality. So I say, did Śrīla Prabhupada say that? Or is this some occult hidden realization of who Prabhupada really is, his hidden tattva? You see what I'm saying? They have if ISKCON is not the Ṛtviks, the worship of Śrīla Prabhupada turns into a concoction. Not only that, but when the devotees justify it, what comes out of their mouth is asuric mayavad.
Right.
Because they justify a concocted speculative mode of worship of a tattva that Śrīla Prabhupada never taught that he was. He didn't teach that I am founder Acharya tattva, which should be worshipped in Guru-pūjā perpetually for multiple generations of disciples. What is that? That's a complete concoction. So Śrīla Prabhupada's Guru-pūjā is evidence that ISKCON is the Ṛtviks. The initiating gurus in ISKCON are Śrīla Prabhupada's Ṛtvik acharyas. He gave the order, and it is functioning now. And after the disciples are initiated on behalf of Śrīla Prabhupada, we're all doing Guru-pūjā to Śrīla Prabhupada, our guru. So that's my argument. So when I go back to read that conversation, I'm like, it's very clear. Śrīla Prabhupada created the Ṛtvik system, and you can say that it's not possible, it can't be done, but I'm looking at it right now. We are all initiated, and we are worshipping our guru, Śrīla Prabhupada. There's nothing more to the Śrīla Prabhupada Guru-pūjā than what it looks like and what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but the other discussion or counteract here would be like, okay, some people are kind of defensive in that area where he says, oh, you cannot qualify yourself as Śrīla Prabhupada's disciple.
Okay. Can I just say something to that?
You know,
Okay.
he never accepted you.
Yeah, so why
like,
are you doing Guru-pūjā to him every day?
Yeah.
Do you understand the contradiction that creates?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
where things are becoming a bit watered down here is thing. One, the initiating acharyas, now they call it swamis.
Well, they're not called swamis, they're called gurus.
Gurus, swamis.
No, because swamis are sannyasis.
Yeah.
And not all of the gurus are sannyasis. Some of them are householders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the gurus.
So what is happening now, in order to maintain the quality of the disciples, the initiating gurus have to be, or has to have such a potency that to make sure all of the disciples that are getting initiated are high quality. And what I mean by that is, following the regulative principles, they're reading Śrīla Prabhupāda's books. This is the school of training. But what is happening now is the initiating acharyas, let's put it the swamis these days, are basically, like having millions, I'm exaggerating here, like thousands of disciples that they can hardly ever have a time to check how they are doing.
But that's okay because they're Ṛtviks. They shouldn't pretend to be.
No, they shouldn't. But
they shouldn't pretend to be more than what they are.
Yeah, but it's the care of. That is the role they're playing, caring for the people that are initiating the quality. Yes.
Yeah.
For example, as a teacher, I cannot ignore my students. I have to make sure they are well looked after.
Yeah, there are various structures in place in ISKCON. The temple president, the temple structure, and the temple presidents. The Ṛtvik acharyas, they are Ṛtvik acharyas. Let me just finish this point. They're not gurus. The problem comes that the Ṛtvik acharyas are pretending that they're gurus, and the proof, the evidence that they are not gurus, that they are Ṛtvik acharyas, is they initiate the disciples, and the disciples do Guru-pūjā to who? You're not even listening to me.
I am.
Okay, the
Śrīla Prabhupāda.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They do a Guru-pūjā to their guru, Śrīla Prabhupāda. The person is a Ṛtvik initiator. He's not a regular guru who is, accepting the Guru-pūjā. And you can prove it for yourself, because if you go to your Ṛtvik initiating acharya and say, shall I do my Guru-pūjā daily to you or to Śrīla Prabhupāda? They will tell you to do it to Śrīla Prabhupāda. No questions asked. Hands down. Of course they will, because they are a Ṛtvik acharya. Of course, everyone will frame this as, oh, they're so humble, and Prabhupada is such a great... That is a speculation. There's no śabda-pramāṇa for that. There is śabda-pramāṇa from the acharya to support this. I will recommend some of you to be officiating acharyas. They will officiate over the first and second initiations. They will initiate on behalf of me. That is authorized and based in śabda-pramāṇa. The idea that these people are regular gurus, but they direct their disciple to worship their param guru, and they refuse to accept Guru-pūjā themselves, that's completely consistent with Śrīla Prabhupāda's Ṛtvik order. And any other justification for that is a speculation with no grounding in Shastra or tradition or instructions from Śrīla Prabhupāda. ISKCON is the Ṛtvik system of Śrīla Prabhupāda 100%. That's my conclusion from studying Śrīla Prabhupāda's instruction as it is, and then looking at the world around me. In terms of the problem, the structural problem comes in that they are lying, that they've created that they are not the Ṛtvik system, and that they are not Ṛtvik acharyas. And I would say,
what are they then?
Well, this started from the very beginning. In July 9, Śrīla Prabhupāda appoints 11 Ṛtvik acharyas. And then as soon as Śrīla Prabhupāda goes into samadhi, his physical body is no longer manifest, they come out and lie to the devotees and tell the devotees that Prabhupada made them not just regular gurus, but acharyas with their own zones. And so they start to receive the Guru-pūjā to them. Then because they're receiving the Guru-pūjā, they all start to combust. And ISKCON starts to implode. And so then, everything's falling apart. So they, rather than confessing to the devotees that Śrīla Prabhupāda's order to us was for us to be Ṛtvik officiating acharyas and you are actually Prabhupāda's disciples, they invite more people into the conspiracy with them. They're still pretending that they're regular gurus, but they are Ṛtviks. And at this point, they've realized that if they try to take the Guru-pūjā away from Śrīla Prabhupada himself and bring it to themselves, they'll combust. So they have the devotees doing their Guru-pūjā to Prabhupada, but they're telling Prabhupada's disciples that they're not Prabhupada's disciples.
Yeah, they're disciples.
Yeah, that you're my disciple. Well, they're
It's basically using Śrīla Prabhupada to gain the position, the fame, the whatever, adoration, whatever. It is embarrassing.
Well,
it's really embarrassing.
I would say that there are some among them who are like, we got to keep this. We got to keep serving.
Loyal.
Yeah, they're loyal, and they're like, I keep serving Śrīla Prabhupada within the structure, and then they'll probably tell their disciples that Śrīla Prabhupada's the actual guru. And so, all glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. They're not trying to hog the thing for themselves. They're not trying to outshine Śrīla Prabhupada. They are acting faithfully as his Ṛtvik acharyas, no doubt.
Yeah, and that will be very clear in how they act and how they proceed with everything. Like respecting what Śrīla Prabhupada wrote, not making any changes, defending actually. But instead, it is quite clear the world can see now. Some of these swamis decided to, be better than Śrīla Prabhupada, making changes to the books because they want to be better than Śrīla Prabhupada, and all sorts of like abomination. And that is shameful, because if you really want to serve your guru, the best position is just observe what Śrīla Prabhupada did. He was following the instructions of his guru, and he wasn't deviating from it. He was so loyal and so focused in what he meant to accomplish.
Yeah. This point is very difficult for people to get. See, Hare Krishna, Dandavats Narahari Rupa Dasi. There is nothing wrong in honor and worshipping our Diksha Guru, but Śrīla Prabhupada is our Acharya. You can't do Guru-pūjā to Śrīla Prabhupada every day and say he's not my Diksha Guru, he's not my Guru. Someone else is my Guru. It's a structural deformation of the tradition to worship someone else as your Guru and not worship your Guru. This is what I'm saying about Śrīla Prabhupada's daily Guru-pūjā. Like, I don't know what KKS is, Kadamba Swami maybe. Kadamba Swami is gone now, but if you went to Kadamba Swami and said, should I offer my daily Guru-pūjā to you or to Śrīla Prabhupada? He would not tell you to offer daily Guru-pūjā to him. He would tell you to offer it to Śrīla Prabhupada. And that's not because he's humble. That's because Śrīla Prabhupada is your guru and he is Śrīla Prabhupada's Ṛtvik Acharya, initiating on his behalf. People reduce this down to like, oh, you're just saying that, if you do Guru-pūjā to someone, that means you're their disciple. No. When you're initiated, the person who initiates you does the ceremony and everything. They will tell you to do one of two things. They will tell you to worship someone else as your guru, or they will say, I am your guru, you worship me as your guru. Guru tattva is, where is the Guru tattva is the question. Is the Guru tattva in Śrīla Prabhupada or is the Guru tattva in that person? So if you're worshipping Śrīla Prabhupada as Guru tattva in the Guru-pūjā, the authorized Guru tattva worship, you are a disciple of Śrīla Prabhupada.
Yeah, the thing with this Mataji, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
It's with this I don't think we're trying to diminish to the person who is recommending, these disciples
or performing the ceremony
the
on
ceremony
behalf
on
of.
behalf of Śrīla Prabhupāda. No, obviously they have to be respected and treated with honor because this is an honorable work they're doing. However, they must be following strictly what they're meant to be following because there is the requisite for it. The situation becomes muddled up here when they are trying to do like a representing Śrīla Prabhupada or doing things on his behalf, yet they are taking the title or they're taking
or saying that he's conditioned or changed his books, he was wrong, all this kind of stuff.
Preaching to the people and saying, I am the guy, and Śrīla Prabhupada is just like, a conditioned soul. He didn't know what he was talking. His English was really bad, so we have to change it to what we think it is best than him because it is best than Śrīla Prabhupada. That kind of people you have to be extremely aware because a humble person will never diminish Śrīla Prabhupada. Never.
I think another thing also, just as I think about a little bit more, so in that conversation, if we go back to it, let's go back to here. Śrīla Prabhupada in here, he says two things over the top of each other, right? So Śrīla Prabhupada says, I recommend you to act as the officiating acharya. What's the relationship of that person who gives the initiation? He's guru. So he is guru. But he does it on your behalf. Yes. So they may also be considered your disciples. Yes, they are disciples. So that we're in ISKCON, in what Śrīla Prabhupada creates here, we're actually like, there's a compound tattva of Guru tattva here. That the Ṛtvik initiating acharya is delegated and empowered by Śrīla Prabhupada. And yes, one is a disciple or the disciple of the initiating Ṛtvik acharya and also of Śrīla Prabhupāda. Yes. You see? But then we're not disciple of my disciple, like purely a disciple of that initiating acharya, because they're a Ṛtvik acharya initiating on behalf of Śrīla Prabhupāda, not a regular acharya. If you're, as I've had it before, they had like ISKCON gurus falling down, you would take shelter of Śrīla Prabhupāda. You would never go like to Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. I guess some people did, but
yeah. But the thing here is like people will start stomping over Śrīla Prabhupada and thinking themselves better than him,
and independent
Ishwaras, the supremes, you know, and people can see now how ridiculous was that idea that they keep falling and falling and falling and falling. And that itself is a curse. The moment you think that you are better than Śrīla Prabhupada, the moment you think that you are the self-emanating acharya here, the moment the inauspiciousness start arriving.
So from Śrīla Prabhupada speaking there, you're initiated by a Ṛtvik initiating a Ṛtvik acharya in ISKCON. You are simultaneously disciple of the Ṛtvik acharya and of Śrīla Prabhupada.
Yeah, because I've been initiated, he is the medium. Let's say Pablo de Swami, he's a medium. And obviously, I'm not going to say, oh, no, he's not a medium. He didn't initiate me. It was Śrīla Prabhupada. It's like, we cannot be that insane. It's like, yes, this person is a medium. And I am basically the disciple of Śrīla Prabhupada.
Yeah, also, because you don't become a grand disciple of Śrīla Prabhupada until Śrīla Prabhupada orders someone to be a regular guru. And when that regular guru is initiating, then they are grand disciples of Śrīla Prabhupada. Otherwise, they're a disciple of the Ṛtvik acharya and a disciple of Śrīla Prabhupada. That's what Śrīla Prabhupada says in the...
Yeah, it's quite clear. Yeah.
He says they're his disciple, and so they may also be considered your disciples. Yes.
Yeah.
They're his disciple who is initiating. Then Śrīla Prabhupada says he is grand disciple. Yes, that's clear. Then we have a question concern, and then Prabhupada goes back. When I order you become guru, he becomes regular guru. That's all. He becomes disciple of my disciple.
Yeah, it's so clear. It is so clear. It's you know, for example, in a family, you know, you have your father, right? You have your father,
Mhm.
and you're the son, and then you have your son, which is the grandchild of your father.
Yeah.
It's his children. All of this generation is his children because it's genetically connected to him. Is your grandfather is the grandfather's grandchild.
Yeah.
It belongs to him
Yeah.
through you.
Yeah, it's a little bit different from that though, because
It's different, but you see the connection,
yeah,
the connection
I
there.
do.
Yeah, the
There's
connection.
the standard kind of like conception of the parampara with the, you know, the grandfather and the father, which is like a biological.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the connection. I'm talking about the connection here.
Okay.
Yeah, the connection. So you cannot say, oh, I am not. You know, he is not my grandchild. Like, yes, it is, because it's your son having that child. So genetically, you know, and I don't mean in a biological level, but the connection of the line.
I'll say one thing about this is that what the implications of this are this. When you're doing Śrīla Prabhupāda's Guru-pūjā is Śrīla Prabhupada, this is not some weird to my param guru, I'm not really. No, Śrīla Prabhupada is my guru. And I am his disciple, worshipping him in Guru-pūjā. It's the authorized tattva, it's the authorized conception. That's what's happening. When somebody blasphemes Śrīla Prabhupada, it's not like, well, I'm just a grand disciple and he's a predecessor acharya. Somebody is blaspheming my spiritual master in front of me. And I don't have to be afraid of anyone or anything. And they go, well, he's a predecessor acharya. It's like, you're talking about our guru. My guru, maybe you say not your guru, you're talking about my guru.
Mm.
And then even if someone is like, well, I'm like a disciple of Śrīla Prabhupada from like, you know, this, that, and the other thing. It's like, if they blaspheme Śrīla Prabhupada, they don't get to pull rank on that and to say, well, what would you know? Because, you know, for you, he's a predecessor acharya. I worship Śrīla Prabhupada every day in Guru-pūjā. He is my guru. Don't tell me he's a predecessor acharya and I have no standing in this. No. I won't hear someone speak about him like that.
Mm.
And so everyone in ISKCON being that way about it, they have no opportunity to try to minimize or erase our spiritual master, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, in his own house. And Srila Prabhupada's Guru-pūjā that he established is a structural communication to us in the future about who we are and what our relationship to him is.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, definitely. And I think people need to understand their connection. You know, you are who you are, and the knowledge what you have is not because your guru out of the blue just pop out and has all of this knowledge. He has the knowledge and the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, and recognizing who is the grand, the acharya here is Srila Prabhupada. And we need to correct these Ṛtvik gurus about their nonsense or becoming better than Śrīla Prabhupada, or thinking that they're better than Śrīla Prabhupada, and blaspheming him and calling him that he is like a conditioned soul, or you know, whatever. What was it? What's it?
Just this is from Narahari Rupadasi again. So she says, the so-called Ṛtviks, New Age, say it's wrong. Well, some people, I'm not sure who they are, say it's wrong to worship our initiating guru who is initiating on behalf of Śrīla Prabhupada, but there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, there could be, or could not be, you know, like Śrīla Prabhupada created that tattva as like it's a tattva where if it's aligned with Śrīla Prabhupada, it's as good as Śrīla Prabhupada. Anyone who says what Prabhupada says is as good as Prabhupada, and when they don't, then they're not. You know?
Only if, you know, strictly follow that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, as long as they are,
Not the ones that are concocting, they're just like bringing out new ideas, new age ideas.
And then unfortunately the ones who are like, I am your Diksha Guru, but it's like you initiated these disciples and have them doing daily Guru-pūjā to your Guru, and you are initiating them in the presence of your spiritual master, in the presence of his Varni, his Murti, his Guru-pūjā, and then telling them that you are their Diksha Guru and Śrīla Prabhupāda is their Param Guru. That and that they should treat Śrīla Prabhupāda as a predecessor acharya. I ran into someone who spoke like that.
I hear someone saying Śrīla Prabhupāda is a Siksha Guru.
Yeah.
Siksha Guru. He's not a Diksha Guru. He's a Siksha Guru. It's like, how could that be? For me, he is a Diksha Guru. Because through his books, he is right there instructing me. He is the Diksha Guru. The initiating acharyas also, I don't know, they consider the Diksha Guru because they gave you.
Well, yeah, they're the Ṛtvik acharya. Yeah, they're part of the Ṛtvik, the Diksha process.
They're part of the Diksha Guru, but the Diksha Guru, Diksha, the big boss is Śrīla Prabhupāda.
Yeah.
We cannot say he's not. Like, he is directly giving you all of this mercy through his books, all of this mercy through his preaching, right there. How can you deny that? How can you say no, he's not, like he's dead, so.
Well, yeah, denying Śrīla Prabhupāda's Ṛtvik system and his Ṛtvik order is a structural defamation to ISKCON. ISKCON is Śrīla Prabhupāda's Ṛtvik system. If they didn't have Guru-pūjā to Śrīla Prabhupāda, the entire thing would evaporate. It would catch fire and just burn overnight. And if the Ṛtvik acharyas attempted to take the Guru-pūjā for themselves from Śrīla Prabhupāda, then they would be in a lot of trouble.
Better to have a Guru reformer, definitely. Some of them has to just be kicked out immediately.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of.
There's so many questions.
And it's all
comments. Yeah.
There's just a real, Śrīla Prabhupāda's definition of Diksha with his Ṛtvik system that he set up is that the Ṛtvik acharya and Śrīla Prabhupāda are like they're both part of the process. But the Ṛtvik acharya is not a regular guru. So the disciple is not a grand disciple of Prabhupada. They're a disciple of Śrīla Prabhupāda. And as long as the Ṛtvik acharya is part of Śrīla Prabhupāda, then because what do you do in the situation where the Ṛtvik acharya goes away from Śrīla Prabhupāda?
And they take the money.
Well, no, they're
using their position, and in the past there are these I don't know who, Swami took the money, just blow up, and many people just fall down.
That's obvious, but I'm talking about something more subtle than that.
Okay.
Because your Ṛtvik acharya is first of all not disclosing to you that they are a Ṛtvik acharya. So your understanding of the authorization in the relationship is not stabilized. And so then they start saying that, like, well, Prabhupada didn't really know what he was talking about, and, we should do this other thing instead. And then they start actually eroding and undermining. Yeah.
A lot.
Śrīla Prabhupāda, and then they're drifting, and taking you with them.
Śrīla Prabhupāda himself says there is this fake gurus, bogus gurus. They're only using, in India, you may have if you were in India, there are many people that pretend to be gurus, sages or whatever, with the saffron color, with their money, and they're going around to get the money.
That's a gig.
You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, Krishna, loves you, Krishna. They're using Krishna to.
Well, it depends on what tilak you're wearing as to who they invoke.
To get money. and to do whatever they want to do. They're cheating basically. And they're obviously in the system of the gurus these days that are cheating gurus. And there is also people that are aware of that, and they're still, protecting between each other, cheating gurus. It's so obvious. Because if they were supporting each other in a sense of like, no, this is what we are and who we are representing Śrīla Prabhupāda, and our conduct has to be so strict, they wouldn't allow so many atrocities that happen with children and all of these gurus walking out of, with the money and having the best time, having the fame with the ladies all around, loving the adoration.
Yeah, Śrīla Prabhupāda is our guru. And the Ṛtvik Acharya may also be part of your experience of guru, or may also be guru. Śrīla Prabhupāda says he is his disciple. He's also Śrīla Prabhupāda's disciple. And then if the Ṛtvik Acharya deviates from Śrīla Prabhupāda, you're Śrīla Prabhupāda's disciple. So, I guess you choose where you go, but you don't have to think that like, what am I trying to say here? If your Ṛtvik Acharya goes against Śrīla Prabhupāda, you don't have to have any fear of disobeying your guru to challenge them on that, because you are Śrīla Prabhupāda's disciple. So you kind of have like a dual tattva to you as well. You're reading comments. We've got Pada 1008 in the comments here.
Yeah. How they walk, how they talk, it's how they conduct themselves is part of like the bona fide way. As otherwise, it's just a regular guy dressed up, because everybody else can do that,
Yeah.
If you have the means to do it, you will do it.
Narahari Rupa Dasi says, I agree with all this, just the definition of the name Diksha seems to be differentiated. Yeah, thanks for your comments and contribution. It caused me to think more about what Śrīla Prabhupāda said there about the Ṛtvik Acharya and himself, and how the initiated disciples are a disciple of both the Ṛtvik Acharya and of Śrīla Prabhupāda.
Such a bonus.
This Guru Tattva is it's foundational. And if you're doing the Guru-pūjā to Śrīla Prabhupāda daily and you are saying, I'm not a disciple of Śrīla Prabhupāda, that causes some real philosophical distortions in the movement, the whole thing. There's some pretty, they're very impactful consequences of that, of the erasure of Śrīla Prabhupāda's personality that takes place, and then you become implicated in that.
It will be way more powerful when the gurus, the initiating gurus, said, hey,
I'm a Ṛtvik Acharya.
I'm a Ṛtvik Acharya, and you are a disciple of Śrīla Prabhupāda.
Yes.
I'm just a medium.
Yep.
So stay loyal to the instructions of Śrīla Prabhupāda. I may fall down. This is, the transparency is so beautiful and powerful in a person.
I'm fallible.
Like, I'm fallible, like anybody else, like you. So there are big risks for me. I just want you to know that. But your guru is Śrīla Prabhupāda. Read his books, follow his instructions, and as much as I can, I will support you here. How wonderful is that? Yeah. Rather than just like, wash my feet, drinking, whatever. It's like the water of the feet, and bow down to me.
One should not accept that kind of worship in the presence of one's spiritual master.
Like, I wouldn't. I just...
No.
Nah. And because of that, they fall down.
Yeah.
Because they goes right high up to their ego that I cannot even notice that, Maya captured them and they fall down.
Mhm.
And they're committing a lot of atrocities now. And that's why ISKCON is basically hammer.
Well, the only reason why ISKCON is still going is because they have the initiates do Guru-pūjā to Śrīla Prabhupāda. But they're doing it thinking they're doing something else. It's like, you are doing Guru-pūjā to your guru. No, I'm not doing. That's not what I'm doing. I'm doing something else.
The potency of Śrīla Prabhupāda is actually keeping this.
Yeah, 100%.
But the potency of these gurus or swamis is basically destroying it.
Not all of them.
Not all of them.
Not everyone.
There's few people there.
But the other thing is
the
general story that they have to buy into, they have to agree to a deception. They have to agree to the initial deception of the 11 Ṛtvik acharyas who lied and said that Śrīla Prabhupāda had ordered them to become guru. They have to participate in that pretense. They can't go back and say, here is Śrīla Prabhupāda's Ṛtvik Acharya empowerment. We are Śrīla Prabhupāda's Ṛtvik Acharyas. And then they have all devotees in ISKCON blaspheming the holy Ṛtvik tattva that Śrīla Prabhupāda created in his speaking on that day. That is actually the whole thing keeping ISKCON afloat. It's madness. Yeah. Anyway, we go back to original śabda-pramāṇa, just the original, the authoritative, self-sufficient pramāṇa, śabda-pramāṇa, the sound vibration of the liberated soul. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Let's finish where we started. This is the meaning of the word Ṛtvik as we receive it in disciplic succession from our spiritual master, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Satswarup asks, then our next question concerns initiations in the future, particularly at that time when you're no longer with us. We want to know how first and second initiation would be conducted. Prabhupada says, yes, I shall recommend some of you. After this is settled up, I shall recommend some of you to act as officiating acharyas. Tamil Krishna, is that called Ṛtvik Acharya? Prabhupada, Ṛtvik, yes. What is the relationship of that person who gives the initiation and he's guru, but he does it on your behalf? Yes. That is formality, because in my presence one should not become guru, so on my behalf, on my order, Amara Agyai Guru Hanya. Be actually guru, but by my order. Satswarupa. So they may also be considered your disciples. Prabhupada. Yes, they are disciples. Why consider who? So that is from Śrīla Prabhupāda. The Ṛtviks are the officiating acharyas, initiating on behalf of His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And the proof that the proof is right there. Srila Prabhupada is just creating it right here. And it's just obviously evident, self-evident from direct experience in 2025. You find yourself initiated by an initiating guru in ISKCON, and you're doing Guru-pūjā daily to Śrīla Prabhupāda, our spiritual master. Something else you want to see there?
It's a lot of talk.
Okay. Yes. Puranjan Prabhu.
Sorry, he has a duty to help me. Well, once you are a guru, yes, you have a duty, because that's what you sign up for. Like,
it's another one. Ṛtvikism. I don't even know what that is. We just went to śabda-pramāṇa, Prabhupada's direct statements. I don't know what any ism about that is.
Yeah, don't create any more problems that you already have. Like, not ism, nationalism and racism and ism.
Yes.
Just like stay to what he said, what Śrīla Prabhupāda said. Don't add, don't diminish anything or take off anything, just as it is.
Worship Śrīla Prabhupāda as your guru.
He's the guru.
He is our guru.
He is our guru.
And What is your opinion in doing Vyasa Puja to the initiating guru? This is to the Ṛtvik Acharya.
We have to honor.
We do.
We have to honor
the
them.
difficulty that I have with this is that there's a fundamental deception at the core of all this, in that ISKCON denies the Ṛtvik order from Śrīla Prabhupāda, even though that's exactly what it's doing. So there's a fundamental deception there, which doesn't sit very well with me at all. I'm just like, the pretense, admit that you are Śrīla Prabhupāda's Ṛtvik empowered Acharya, empowered by that order from Śrīla Prabhupāda. That is why we are doing Guru-pūjā every day to our Guru, because you have been empowered by him to initiate on his behalf. Stop pretending that you are an independent Ishvara from him. It's a real soaring off of the branch that they are sitting on. So for that reason, I don't, I can't put my heart into it. I can put my heart into the Śrīla Prabhupāda's Guru-pūjā, but the other thing is, like, it's difficult. It's a challenge. Yeah.
Given given that we are conditioned souls, and at any moment gurus can fall down. With that, I guess as a disciples we have to be helpful. If we see any deviation, or the preaching is basically deviating or diminishing Śrīla Prabhupada, and thinking that they're better than Śrīla Prabhupada, we just need to put a straight cut off there.
Yeah.
We have to voice that, because by not doing that, we're contributing for that person to even go in a deeper deviation.
Yeah.
So yes, you as a person, as a disciple, you have a duty to protect your guru, your initiating guru, as otherwise you're implicit in the fall down of this person.
Yeah.
That is just how it is. Now, they can use, you cannot talk to the guru, and we cannot, this was like, who says that? There is a way to speak to them, there is a way to refer to them, but yes, we have to go and say, hey, you're doing this. So in that way, you helping that person. As again, we just mentioned before, he is not an infallible person. He's just a human being trying to be as powerful or present and following the footsteps of Śrīla Prabhupāda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's leave it there.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your comments. Keep commenting, and we'll keep an eye on the comments on Facebook and on YouTube.
We may do another.
Yeah, we'll do
another
we'll do
podcast.
Another one. Yeah, we'll get
because
some more
it's a good
on.
question here. It's a good question here. The Ṛtvik group refuses to believe that there will be any more bona fide gurus for the 10,000 years.
What is the Ṛtvik? Hang on. What is the Ṛtvik group?
Yeah.
The word Ṛtvik is a term that comes to us in disciplic succession from Śrīla Prabhupāda that indicates or refers to an officiating acharya who presides over the first and second initiations, particularly after Śrīla Prabhupada has left. Now, the reason why I say that is not just because I want to be like, brainy Smurf or something, because I keep myself anchored in śabda-pramāṇa, and I do not go outside that circle. It's like, let's talk about this is from the Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Whatever you seek to describe in words, let me find it. I'll get the exact verse so we can quote the exact one. It's Śrīmad Bhagavatam 1.5. I'll find it from 1.5. Don't hate on me because I'm using Vedabase.io. It's just that it's faster than Prabhupada books for doing this right now. Okay, describe. So if I find the word describe on this page, here it is here. So, share this tab instead. Yeah. Add to this. Whatever you desire to describe that is separate in vision from the Lord simply reacts with different forms, names, and results to agitate the mind as the wind agitates a boat which has no resting place. If we start talking about the Ṛtvik group or Ṛtvikism, things that have no grounding in śabda-pramāṇa, we will very soon find ourselves just engaged in mundane sectarian arguments with people which lead nowhere
and making
and
enemies
and
unnecessarily.
and they do nothing. They don't actually create anything in the world. It's only by going to śabda-pramāṇa and remaining rooted in that. Correct anuman, correct reasoning is rooted in shabda. It's Śrīla Jiva Goswami's Sarva-samvadini commentary on Anuchad 9 of the Tattva Sandarbha. So we must reason from śabda-pramāṇa. So, if you just notice what I did there, I just absolutely rejected the entrance of this idea of the Ṛtvik group into my head or my consciousness or my speaking. This is a complete rejection. I'll just speak in line with his divine grace and what he said, what Ṛtvik is. And the title of this one, Reclaim Ṛtvik.
Yeah. To keep it simple, stay to what Śrīla Prabhupāda said. It will make your life easy. Śrīla Prabhupāda said, this is a Ṛtvik system that I'm putting in place. It is the Ṛtvik system. That we don't have to, there is a saying in South America, you don't have to find 7 feet to a cat, because we already know it's only 4. So let's not find other meanings to situations or things that is described in the books of Śrīla Prabhupāda. Simple. Life is just so chaotic now. Don't make it miserable for yourself.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. We'll be back. And I see something from Purajit Prabhu there, but we'll have to do that more in depth on the next one.
Yeah, let's read them and then read another one.
Thanks for tuning in. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Jai Jagat Guru Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Sadhva Ṛtvik Acharya Ki Jai.
Jai Shri.